All right. I think we are live, Angie.
We did it. You did it. I just sat here and tried to not talk, which you know how hard that is for me. So you're welcome.
I do know how hard that is for you. Thank you.
Happy
You're
to
just
serve.
like giving me the best advice. And I'm like, I got it. I got it.
That just stopped.
All right. Well, I am here live because this is the first of a series of interviews that I'm doing with my Christmas devotional writer friends or Christmas season, Epiphany season devotional writer friends.
I fall more into Epiphany, but I'll fall into Christmas for you this year.
Oh, thank you. Because of
Fall into
all the times
Christmas.
of
That sounds like a Hallmark movie.
it, oh my gosh. So this is I call her my ministry BFF, Angie Baughman. And she wrote a very, very beautiful Christmas devotional a few years ago called A Journey Worth Taking. And yeah, I'm falling down on the job. I don't have my copy to hold up.
Got your back.
That's okay. Alrighty. Well, at any rate, I want to talk to you a little bit about your devotional and stuff like that. But first, I would love for everyone to get to know you just kind of personally a little bit. And what is one holiday event that you really enjoy attending with your family?
I really enjoy attending slash torturing my family with this holiday event. How about that? Because about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes from where we live, there's a huge fairgrounds. Our state fair is very close to where
Oh,
we live, huge fairgrounds. And they do a big Christmas light display
oh my
every
gosh.
year. You know, you
Mhm.
pay by the car, you turn your music radio to a certain station or whatever, and then you drive through these lights. And they usually add a little something new and take away something every year. But I mean, they're mostly the same, right? We have
Yeah.
been doing this. So my oldest is 18. We have literally been doing this since my oldest, we would put him in a sleeper, in the car seat and drive him through because he was going to fall asleep, before we got home, sort of thing. And so, like, we've been doing this for years. And every year I'm like, are we going to see the lights? And they're just like, Ma, we've seen the light. We all know we're going. We
Uh,
know we're going. We have a van still that has like, I mean, this is how outdated my car is, but it has one of the flip screens, we put like Mickey's Christmas Carol or the Grinch,
yep.
in the van as we drive. Then we go through the lights, and it's a little bit cheesy, but they love it. I love it because there's so many memories from doing that year after year after year and how we
Uh,
change, and so it's just precious to me. And Alex is this the first year he's at college, so I have a feeling though that at some point even our college boy will fold himself into my minivan and be like, yes, we'll go see the lights.
like fun, mom.
They really secretly love it.
I don't know. I was asking my kids the other day about we usually do a staycation every year. And I was like, or should we go up and do the camp up in the woods that was the original inspiration for the staycation? And they all were kind of like, no. And my son was like, I'm not even gonna go up there for a day. I'm not spending the night. And the girls were like, no, and then we can't bring the dog with us. And I'm just like, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save that. But I like the way my son talked about it. I'm like, we'll be lucky if we get him to come and just watch one thing with us. Like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, he loves. I think we might be able to get him to
Capitalize on that then, right? Yeah.
It's
Order
just like,
pizza and yeah,
yes,
and yeah, yeah, make it
he'll
a
eat with
thing.
us. And he
It's the
might,
things that they fuss the most about that they probably will be doing with their kids when we're gone or their grandkids when
oh
we're gone,
yeah,
right? Because it's
oh
actually the
yeah.
things that'll be like stirring all those Christmas feelings in them.
Yes. Oh, I know. So at any rate, I'm just curious too. I've read some of your devotional. I kind of started it in the summer and then was like, I'm saving this because I feel like I would love to know more about the gifts that the wise men brought Jesus kind of closer to Christmas. And I know that historically we know the wise men did not bring tiny, 7-pound baby Jesus, all these things. Like it happened sometime
Later.
later, we don't know. but because he was no longer in the, he was no longer in the extra room or whatever. He was no longer like rejected. He was in a house when they came. And but could you share with everyone what the core message of your devotional is?
Yes. Well, I love what you just said, because one of the things, like one of the core messages for everything that I do is let's look at the Bible and learn something we didn't know, even about stories we think we know. So that's like a thread through everything that I teach. And so this story of the wise men in Matthew 2 is so filled with things that we think we know because of our like westernized, because of our church traditions, whatever. I mean, it just works out to put the magi in the nativity scene. And because there's three gifts, it works for us to have three wise men and sing about that, but it doesn't actually say those things. Right. And so I think one of the messages that I always hope is like, let's look at this just a little bit closer, walk all around and learn something new. But the
Mhm.
message of this devotional, this study, it's a 4-week study, really is about the gifts that the wise men brought, why they were significant then, why they're significant in our walk with Jesus today. And I can go through the gifts if you want, but that's really the core message.
Do you want I would love to hear you go through the gifts.
Well, I can do it. So
Go
you
for
probably
it.
know what the gifts are. Rattle them off, Jenny.
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Yeah. So we look at the fact that gold was a gift for a king. And then through the study, we ask ourselves, what does that mean to me today? That Jesus is my king. Do I bow down
Mm.
before him with my life? Do I offer him my life? Do I submit to him? Um, am I am I giving up the things that I think that I want or need in order to be obedient to his leadership? And so is he my king?
Mhm.
If gold is a gift for a king, is gold a gift for my king? And is he my
Yeah.
king? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second one that's often thought of is
Frankincense.
frankincense. That's right. And that was a gift for a priest. And so we
Mhm.
think about priests often like in the Catholic tradition, I think, right? Those are the priests that we think of, the collar and and that like sort of like I don't know, barrier almost between, oh, I don't like that word because it's, but there's, the priest is a representation, a representative of God to the people. I'm going to put it that way. Right. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we have this idea of what a priest is, but do we know Jesus and the way that he represented God on earth enough that we know God through his representative? Right. And so
Mhm.
there's this question of the kinds of things that the priests do in our organized religion today. What does that mean in terms of our relationship with Jesus and how he stands in that role? There's a story about in his crucifixion how the veil was torn, right? This veil that separated the
Mhm.
people from the presence of God, from the Holy of Holies. That this thing that only one priest one day a year was allowed to enter, and but the veil was torn because there's this access to God, but we have access to God through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so, are we knowing that? And are we not
Mhm.
using it like in the like using it, but are
Right.
we utilizing it? Maybe I guess I could say
Right.
it that way, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When at one point when I realized I could order frankincense from, a essential oil
Yeah.
place,
Yeah.
I ordered some. It is not cheap.
No.
Tiny little vial, 75 bucks.
All of these things were very valuable.
Very valuable. And even to this day, like if you want to smell frankincense, unless you know someone that has it, it is very expensive. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And it has like a really earthy smell. And it also has healing properties too, which is
Yeah.
like really amazing.
Yeah. It was
So,
burned often as an act of worship. It
mhm.
was burned often as an act of worship. So yeah, in the study, I talk about the gifts, like what they were used for and then what they mean for us today. So the last one is myrrh, gold,
Mm,
frankincense, and myrrh. And myrrh, interestingly enough, and I thought this was an interesting parallel as I researched it, but myrrh is used primarily for death, for embalming,
mm,
and also for sensuality, like in lovemaking. So we look in that
mm,
chapter like at how myrrh was used for both of these like really important things in our life, these like holy
mhm.
sacred moments.
Yeah.
But then I kind of asked the question, how are we inviting God into the sacred moments of our life?
Mm,
Is he our like I say that it's a gift for a tragic end as I'm like unpacking it a little bit in the book, but it's also a gift for just this recognition of God's presence in our everyday moments that actually, when we invite God into them, they're holy and sacred because he's
mhm.
there and he's with
Yeah.
us in them. So yeah, we just look kind of closely at the gifts, what culturally they were used for then and how that still can impact our relationship, our walk with Jesus today.
That's so good. I just learned in the last year or so, because I've been kind of diving into all kinds of mental health stuff, and a kid that has had a lot of panic attacks last year, and learned that it is the only thing that penetrates into our fight or flight, the amygdala, is scent.
Mm,
It's like literally the only thing that can stop it. And so it's just interesting to me that two of these gifts that surround Jesus have
very strong
fragrance,
smells. Yeah.
very strong, and it's something that just can really penetrate into like just about our soul, right? I mean, it's just amazing to me
So
that
if we have time for a quick story, I think you'll appreciate this
yeah.
if I haven't told you this already. So I have this like box in the top of my linen closet that has like it's my smell box kind of, if you will, because scent and memory is so closely connected. And
Yeah.
I think this is really what part of what God is doing with some of these gifts as he's, like burning incense in the temple, in the tabernacle, in the place of worship, right? Because this sets this apart. When you walk in, the smell of this incense reminds you of the time that you've spent with me. I have this box in the top of my linen closet, and in it I have now some of these things are getting pretty dated, but I have a perfume that I wore a lot when I was dating my husband. I
Oh,
have a bottle, what's left of a bottle of baby wash that I used when my first son was born, and I used to wash him. I have a little jar of lotion that I took on my honeymoon, and I have like these things, right? Then there, and some
oh,
every once in a while I get them down and I just smell them, and it just rolls back
oh,
the time. Like, I'm like, oh, how precious when I was a new mom, or when I first fell in love with my husband, and some of those things. And those, like, I
yeah,
don't feel that way all the time. But when
yeah.
I smell those things, right, it just brings that back. And so, how do we create those smells in our relationship with Jesus?
Mhm.
Those set apart moments that we can return to and remember how just very precious he is to us, and we are to him.
Absolutely. And if there is one season of the whole year that revolves around aromas, it is definitely Christmas. Cause like walk into Fred Meyer and I know it's Christmas because I can smell the cinnamon coming from the branches in the Christmas area. And then you associate the cookies baking and the fur of the trees that you cut down and bring into your home, and all of these things. And so I just
That's why we like,
absolutely,
if you're, we have scents that we diffuse or candles that we burn or
yes.
something, and we're just like, it smells like Christmas, and it smells like Christmas,
Mhm.
but it smells like our experiences of Christmas, and that
Yes.
can be true in our relationship with the Lord as well. Like, this
Yeah.
is my experience of the Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel like the message of this book can help someone who might be struggling with the holiday season and drawing closer to Jesus?
Yeah. I think this story is so old and it's so new. And I think that there's this opportunity through the study and through a lot of other things we do, is that my hope, I guess, for the study is that we can better place ourselves in the story and
Mm,
remember and realize, or maybe realize again, right, that we are a part of God's redemptive story. We are a part of this. We are invited into this, and our story and our experience of Jesus are so vitally important. I was in Psalm, I think it's 34:5, and it talked about how when we seek the Lord, when we look for the Lord, that it will make us radiant. I'm not quoting it exactly, but this Hebrew word for radiant meant to sparkle. Like, and I'm like, isn't that precious? Like, I'm like, I want to sparkle for Jesus. And one of the ways that we sparkle for Jesus is by remembering our connection with him, remembering what he's done for us, acknowledging how important he is in our lives, and like remembering that all the time. So Christmas, I think, is a great time to say, I want to learn something new about you so that I
yeah.
maybe sparkle a little brighter.
Oh, Angie, I love that. Well, if you feel like you need some sparkle and you would like to pair some new
Put your
aromas,
orange Converses on. That's what they,
get
yeah.
your get yes, and how do I not own a pair of orange ones? I don't
I
even know how
know.
that's
I know. I need
possible.
orange.
I need orange too. And dive into her study, or if you have a group of ladies that you're looking for something to do after right after Christmas, this would be a great one to start off the year.
If
So,
you have a group of ladies, I'll zoom in if you want me to.
oh
Reach
yeah,
out and I'll zoom in and say hi.
I
I'd
love
love to
it.
do it. Mhm.
I love it. Well, Angie, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. I love you.
I love you too. And everyone, just so you know, this book is included in the Christmas devotional giveaway. And if you're interested in winning it, like, go ahead and enter. There's the link is in the little description of the video. And yeah, I'm just super excited. I've never given away something that I've wanted so much myself. And it's funny because I have purchased every one of these books over time or been sent it by kind friends like you and gone, "Oh my gosh, I just can't stop learning enough about Jesus at
Mhm.
Christmas time." It's just amazing.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for checking in, everyone, and we will see you guys later.